You worked in New York City in the court system.
Still do.
And still do. This kind of thing directed at a clerk of the court. I mean, it's one thing, right? Like, if you run for district attorney in Manhattan, you're going to take some incoming, right? Like, there's going to be people saying nasty things about you. You may have to worry a little bit about security, but you know that when you're doing. Not to say that it's okay, but it's just a little bit of a different thing. A court clerk. Like, have you ever encountered a situation in the time that you've worked in the New York City court system of that level of public harassment targeted at someone like that?
Unheard of. A judge's law clerk, it's I don't want to say they're a potted plant, but when you go to court as a lawyer, you don't deal with the law clerk. Sometimes judges will have the law clerk, speak to the attorneys to help with settlement, but it's the judge that makes the decision. So in this case, not just Donald Trump, to have the lawyers that have been attacking this law clerk is just unprecedented. It's just unheard of.
And it's not just, it's one thing if you're this clerk, right, and you have been against your will elevated to a public figure by one of the most, the biggest platforms in the person of Donald Trump. It's one thing for people to say nasty things about you out in the world in the internet. It's horrible, but that's one level. What's revealed in this filing is that, like, she's getting 50 phone calls a day or something. I mean, her life is disrupted.
Yeah, she's been doxxed. Her address is in the public domain. Her personal emails have been compromised. Her personal cell phone has been compromised. She gets dozens of messages, as you mentioned, on her social media, her personal email, and her personal cell phone every day. And the threatening phone messages and voicemails that have been directed at the judge and the clerk combined fill 275 single-spaced pages as transcribed. To me, that was the thing about this filing that stood out the most, was just the sheer volume of the hate.
I'm sorry, but this is unacceptable. Entirely unacceptable. Like, we cannot run a system like this. It cannot be the case that you can use the leverage of your platform to essentially, like, by other means, paint a target of intimidation upon, like, a court. This is like, I feel like I'm reading about some dystopian state where the rule of law has unraveled.
Yeah, and it shows, this is proof. If you want proof that Donald Trump's words when he attacks someone has the effect of encouraging threatening behavior, threatens, this is proof. This poor law clerk here, who he puts her photo up, and he also linked to her personal Instagram on that social media, and it just started, and it hasn't stopped.
This